Good morning, and thanks for being here at the SEMA 2012 show, the Vehicle Technology Center. For most of you, if you don't know this is something new that we're doing. We started a couple years ago, and we're kind of incubating ideas, and that's what we're going to get to here in a few minutes. But that's what the SEMA Show is all about. One, it introduces you to new products, like the new product showcase. Winners that were announced there, the 13 different categories. The new people that you meet, and your existing partners, and bringing customers here, and getting together to create that networking opportunity to take advantage of the technologies, the opportunities, and the challenges and solutions. And you see a lot of cool stuff at the SEMA Show. And with a lot of the autos and a lot of the different technologies and systems, features, and functions that we've been talking about for the last couple days, from vehicle dynamics, from the racing that we talked about, racing and performance, the Google car. That was actually one of our largest sessions we've ever had. And to see that rapport, if you will, between SEMA members and something as new as all the systems that are going on in the Google car. So I think we're going to have something pretty exciting for you next year with that. Can't let the cat out of the bag on that quite yet. But this next session is with good friend Johnathan Goodwin of Goodwin Assist, and I like to call him Johnny Magic because that's how we kind of met. And through the years, we've had a lot of different things going on, and Johnathan called a couple weeks, 6 weeks ago, right? Said, hey, is there a chance we can get our vehicle into the show? And everything was sold out, etc. So we said, "What? Tell you what I've got." And you explained Goodwin Assist to me, and you'll hear a lot more about that. I said, that's the kind of stuff that the Vehicle Technology Center is all about. It's the new stuff. It's what's coming next. People come here, like the OEMs that were here on the racing panel. They come here because what I like to say is SEMA is the department of new ideas. Goodwin Assist, what you're going to hear about here, is exactly that. So incubating those new ideas. But it's also, again, SEMA is, as you know it very well, it's the intersection of cars and cars culture, and that intersection is always moving, but the thing that keeps that alive is the automotive lifestyle, and that's what SEMA is all about. That's what Goodwin Assist is all about. That's what Johnny Magic is all about. And again, thanks to Johnathan, we had a mutual friend. Neil Young was here, gave the keynote, 2010. So let's show a short video here, Darren.
Destiny running good.
I can never get enough of that. I just love that. When Neil was here with the Link Bolt, we had the Link Bolt and we had Jim Campbell here from Chevy, so they had the Link Bolt and the Chevy Bolt talking to one another. It was so cool. But I tell you, I would not even know about that if it wasn't for Johnathan. When we were talking on the phone one day, he said, well, you got to take a look at this video. And I had no idea it was dedicated to the Motorhead Messiah right here. So here is the man. Here is Johnathan Goodwin. Right here himself, Johnny Magic. Thank you.
Thank you. It's probably one of the most inspirational people that I've actually had the pleasure of building something or building a concept with. Over the last 5 years, we've been building this car, the Link Bolt. It's kind of a transformation of old technology to new technology, and of course a 59 Lincoln, which is like the real estate size of Vegas as far in the car world. But when Neil first showed up at my door, he had this old car and water bottles all over the floor, and he just made a road trip all the way from California to Kansas to see me for this transition. And so I come up with a system I call a series hybrid electric. So that car was fully electric, but it has on board a small generator that runs on domestic green fuels. Fuel of choice right now is actually biomass ethanol. And we're hoping to finalize the rest of the tour this year or early spring. And it'll be pretty cool to see what 6 years in the making of a documentary will look like with Neil Young. So. But during that time, I flew back and forth to California like every day. It felt like I was from Kansas to California. Didn't know if I was coming or going. And I did look at all the emails. There's millions of emails coming in about what I was doing. And you know, a lot of people had one question that stuck out the most. They're like, well, you can do this for people like the Governator, Neil Young, and stuff like that. Well, what can you do for my car? I started thinking about it. What could we do with the car that we have now? We know where technology is headed and the electric propulsion industry, and you see the hybrids out and stuff like that. I'm like, what can I do with my car now? So I come up with a system I call the Goodwin Assist. And the Goodwin Assist is comprised of a simple bolt-on hybrid plug-in electric kit that you could actually add to any vehicle. You know, it could be anything from a weed eater to an airplane. So I have a small video, two-minute video of Cake TV, which is a TV show or a TV channel in Kansas that actually test drove the vehicle for the very first time. I'd like to show you that now.
Right now I'm driving an H2 Hummer, the epitome of a gas hog. But believe it or not, I'm getting nearly 60 now, over 60 miles to the gallon.
This likes fuel. Yeah, it's a gas guzzler, a gas hog.
But inventor Johnathan Goodwin says he can turn gas guzzlers like this into gas sippers.
Well, we can turn this into one of the most fuel-efficient hybrids in the world.
That sounds like a tall order, but Goodwin says it's possible with what he calls a simple kit that one can add on to their vehicle. It's called the Goodwin Assist.
It allows us to actually take an electric motor and bolt it to your existing engine in a more cost-effective way.
In other words, he says, instead of buying a hybrid, you'd buy and install this kit, or Goodwin would, in his H-line conversion shop in El Dorado. Like other hybrids, it relies on these lithium batteries you'd typically recharge at home. He says the savings are captured because electricity is cheaper than gasoline.
Because electricity is about a 75 cents equivalent gallon, you know, to where gasoline right now is $3.50, $4 a gallon. It's got a tremendous cost savings on it.
How much savings depends on how much electric assist is applied to the engine. The more electric used, of course, the shorter the range before recharging is needed. Now focus on the computer monitor readout while we're driving about 55 on the highway. Goodwin says he can make the Hummer get 100 miles to the gallon or more depending on how much electric assist is applied. He says a Volkswagen kit got about 150 miles to the gallon. Goodwin says the average Goodwin Assist kit for an SUV costs around $5,000.
So it might seem a little pricey, but Goodwin reminds us that you can get a return on your investment in about a year and a half. in Butler County near El Dorado. Chris Frank, Cape News.
There's kind of a typo in there. It's not $5,000 for an SUV, believe me. I wish I could make it that, but battery technology is very expensive at this point in time, so the kit would cost significantly more for an SUV. However, in a smaller application, our target is an under $5,000 kit. And when we talk about fuel efficiency, it's really kind of a mystery. For example, we're not actually making the vehicle more efficient unless it's in hybrid mode, and everybody kind of understands the basic principles of a hybrid. What we're talking about is trading one fuel source for another, and our exchange on this is electricity. So what we're doing is we're using, in a plug-in mode, we're using electricity to offset your base consumption of your main fuel source, whether it be gas or diesel. And that's a really simple process. The more energy that we apply through electricity, the more efficient or less fuel or less work that the gas engine or diesel engine has to do. So that's kind of our philosophy behind it, is allowing people to take advantage of the cost savings associated with the fuel source electricity, which has that tremendous 400% or 500% cost savings on it. That's where you get your real big gain. And your range is limited based on your assist. The system actually is driven by a MyMod app, apps on your cell phone. So you can choose what range or the amount of efficiency or displacement that you would like. You can choose that. And of course you can choose a performance mode as well. Of course, I'm a motorhead, so there's nothing better than an extra 100 horsepower on top of my existing engine. And so we have a kind of a slideshow, and I don't think is this the problem? So the kit consists of an electric motor that actually is bolted to your existing engine. So it comes with the bracket and stuff like that. And it has a controller. And in the back of the vehicle is your battery pack. And your battery pack is kind of up to the end user's discretion on what their normal range is. Most people don't drive more than 60 miles a day, so there's no sense in dragging around a 300-mile range battery pack. And of course, the smaller the pack, the more cost or the less the system would cost, because the real cost is in the batteries. You can see there the electric motor is just cog belted back to the crankshaft of the engine, so it makes for a really quick turnaround time and not a really aggressive integration. There's a lot of different hybrids, whether the motor's in the transaxle or different configurations. This was the lowest cost solution to be able to hybridize something. So we understand that passing it through a drivetrain, there is losses, but when the efficiency is as great as it is through electric technology currently, we can afford that loss, especially with the cost savings on the fuel source. Kind of shows you the description of the motor, and the controller sets up front above the motor. And then, of course, in the back we have the exposed battery pack at this time. It's not integrated into the vehicle. But most importantly, to make all this work, we have software on board that gives you those choices and that application of being able to choose your driving habits. Say, for example, today, I'm going to go into town. Town's 5 miles away. I'm going to come back. So I can just pull out my phone and I can go to mode 1. Mode 1 gives me the maximum amount of efficiency or cost savings on my fuel source by displacing your main fuel with electricity. So we're going to work the system a little bit harder. But by working it harder, your range is more limited than you would if you do it at a lower assist. I'm going to have the guys from MyMod come up here and explain how the system integration works with their software and some of the features of that. So I've got Troy and Jamie, yeah? Oh, you guys are mic'd. Okay, cool. Well, we'll just sit down and do it. So they're with MyMod. They're the people that design and develop the software to control the system, and it also reads the vehicle and all that good stuff. And I'm a lot better, explaining the internal workings of Allison transmission than I would be software stuff. So I'm gonna leave it up to these guys.
So it's actually the mating of Goodwin Assist and my mod actually was it almost was written in. It was just something that was going to happen. When my mod was first developed, it was developed as a way to display the information for electric vehicles. At the time, there was no gauge clusters or anything like that. So Troy Lentz, that was developing an EV vehicle at the time, developed the software and put everything together to display the information necessary for a driver of an EV car to have the information he needs and actually display the information in a way that, to him, seems right. So the cluster was actually customizable to do that. We could read BMS, which is battery monitoring stuff. There was also a switch panel that went in between the console, which eliminated things like toggle switches and those kind of things where you'd find in a car that has been scratch built. And we put everything in one central location, which allowed the person to access anything from radio to air ride suspension to you name it, we can control it. In the last couple of years, we've actually we've went into the high performance market, and we're offering that same flexibility there. And that's kind of where the mate between with Goodwin was so important, because John's vehicle runs on both technologies. He runs with a fuel vehicle and an electric motor. So my mod was perfect for that, because we were already able to take the information we needed from the fuel motor and process that data, and also from the electric side, and still do all the battery monitoring and stuff that we needed to do with that, display that information for the driver or whoever decides to have a Goodwin Assist in their vehicle will have that information available to them. So what you actually get is a screen very similar to this, which would replace your tuned-in stereo spot. You're not losing anything by this, because in this you're actually gaining. Keep going.
I'll let you drive.
You let me drive?
Here, dude. Got it.
There we go. What you're looking at here, for example, is the first screen. This is the home screen. And what it's showing you right now in the direction of the arrow is the energy. So the energy from the pack is going to the motor, which means it's in assist mode right now. When the electric motor spins free, it would show you the regen from that motor being placed back into the battery pack. And as I started to say, when this replaces your tuned-in stereo spot, it also becomes your touchscreen stereo now. You still have navigation, you have touchscreen stereo. We can actually offer you other things like being able to turn things off and on as well. So the flexibility is there. But the most important thing is you have all the information from the Goodwin Assist that you need to know. So this would be your home screen. The next screen that you'll see here is a state of charge, the condition of the battery, when it's charging, and how long to a full charge. Here it displays miles per gallon on one side, and then hybrid miles left or remaining in the pack, and fuel miles left or remaining in the vehicle. And then this also gives you the ability to turn the system off completely if you choose to do so, or again, put it in a hybrid mode and leave it there. So the flexibility of the system is really, it's very, very cool, because what it allows you to do is have that extra power at the touch of your fingers. And when you don't need it, it freewheels and charges the battery pack. So unlike a supercharger where, you have that draw constantly, you can actually have the 100 horsepower when you need it and then shut it off. And it actually becomes a regen system. It's amazing. Here, what this screen here is showing you is the BMS. Basically what we monitor is each battery individual in the cell. We can tell you the temperature, the state of charge of that battery, and if there's any issues with the charge of a cell in that battery. So you can monitor all that, and you know if there's any maintenance issues well in advance, it can be taken care of. That's kind of what we're doing for Goodwin. So we're the link basically between the EV side of it and the fuel side of it. We make them work together, and we make it in such a way that it's basically perfect. They mesh together perfectly without any issues, and give Johnathan's customers what they need when they need it.
Thank you. So that kind of explains the systems on board of how the Goodwin Assist works. There's another reason. Some people have been asking me, well, why did you pick a huge SUV? And there's many reasons behind that. But, one is if you could do this on a large SUV, you can surely do it on any application. But more than that, we're going to do a keynote later on this evening around 3, and talk about the future integration of smart technology into the system itself. And it's more of a crash avoidance, and everybody knows about people texting on cell phones, and and the amount of deaths that creates. And we're trained to incorporate that into our system, as well as a total autonomous feature, really, because this vehicle that we're building right now has kind of been a 3 or 4 year process, and it goes to a gentleman named Dave Ginchie, which is a quadriplegic, and his dream and inspiration was always to be able to drive this Hummer. So we're working our way towards him being able to do that. So I appreciate you coming and listening.